Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this side laced up abaya. If this is something you're interested in, keep on watching. If you've not subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I love you guys. Do not forget to also turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos like this. Alright, let's get started. Can see I have my fabric on fold, and it's on fold wide enough to give me the required fullness I want for my dress. So when you're doing that, and I think I have about 20 inches on fold, so when you open it up, that's 40. So when you're folding yours, fold it enough to give you the required fullness you want for your dress. Okay, for this I don't want it too full, that's why I have 20 inches. All right, I've rolled a starting line now from which all my measurements will be taken lengthwise, and next on that starting line I'm going to mark out the shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then proceed to mark out my neck width, which is going to be 3 inches, and for the neck depth I'm going to be using 5 inches. All right, and then I'll go ahead to use my curve ruler to make the round curve over there. All right, next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to do the shoulder slope. I'm going to be using 1.5 inches for that, and I'll connect it to the neck point just as you can see. I'm going to proceed now to mark out the armhole measurement, and for this I'm going to be using 9 inches. All right, afterwards I'm going to roll a line that's going to become the chest line. You should be familiar with this by now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to remark the shoulder measurements on that chest line so I can have a straight line connected back up there, just as you can see. The next thing I'm going to do now is to mark out the bust length. Afterwards, I'll go ahead to roll out the line on the marked out points, just as you can see. Next, I'll proceed to mark the waist length. And for this, I'm going to be using the back waist length, which is 15 inches. All right, it's a free dress. It doesn't have all of that that and the likes. Okay, so there is no point using both the front and the back waist length, where we now have to come and start imputing bust darts and all of that stuff. All right, don't know if you get my point, but yeah. So next I'll be marking out the waist to hip measurements. Okay, despite the fact that I said it's a free dress, I still wanted to have some sort of fit. Okay, normally if you wouldn't want it to give some sort of fit on your body, if you want it to be like the abaya, yeah, from the bust point you just draw your line straight down. You don't need to put in the waist measurement or anything. All right, I hope you get my point. So I'm just labeling so you know what lines I have here, which is the bust, the waist, and the hip. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to mark in the round measurements of each point. Okay, so I'm going to mark in the round measurements divided by 4, and I'm going to be adding as much allowance as I want. Okay, so you can decide to use 3 inches, 4, depending on how free you want it to be on your body. Okay, there is no standard measurement for this. Just do what you would love to see at the end of the day. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. All right, and don't forget to also add your stitching allowances as well. So that's what I'm just doing here. To go ahead to use my ruler to give it the shape on the marked out points, and before you come asking why you're only seeing an extra ½ inch, is because I've added the allowance, okay, already. Like after dividing the round measurement of each point by 4, I added the allowance while I was marking it out. Okay, it might look small. The dress is not mine, so there's no need to worry. But I've added it and the half inches just so I don't forget. Okay, so I just blended that part to give it that realistic blend at the waist points to avoid the pointy edge. So now I'm just going to take what I have on the hip there straight down to the hem of the garment, as you'll be seeing. All right, that was why I said initially that you should fold your fabric enough to give you whatever fullness you would want for the dress. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to get the armhole curve, which you should be familiar with by now. I'm going to divide what I have from the shoulder slope to the chest line by 2, mark out the midpoint, and then go in by 0.75, and then use my curve ruler to draw out the armhole curve. I'm done with that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is divide the nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and mark it out on the waist and the bust line. All right, that's because I want to achieve a princess cut style on this. If you do not want that, you're good to go. You could just go ahead and cut out what we have here already. Okay, but because I don't want it plain, I want to give it that princess cut style. That's why I'm doing this. All right, and I connected that point to the midpoint that we marked previously on the armhole. All right, and I'm going to connect it all the way to the hem. For the hem, I divided it by 2. You know, I had 20 inches there, so I just marked 10 inches, and I'm going to connect it all the way. All right. So at the hem, I'm going up by 2 inches, just as you can see, and I'm going to use my curve to make a slight curve over there, so that at the end of the day, by the time we're done joining the gown, it gives a relaxed feel on the floor and not some pointy side edge. Now I'm going to proceed to cut it out. So for the laced up part, as you can see, I'm going up by 1 inch on the waistline on both sides, and it's on the nipple to nipple measurement that we divided by 2 in order to get the line. All right, that's why I'm doing that, and I'm going to make a notch there so I know where the loops are supposed to start from. All right, and for the length, I'm going to be marking out 6 inches, so that's where the loops are going to end. Now moving on to the back, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing I did in the front. There's just going to be little changes, okay, which is the neck depth. For the front, I used 5 inches. For the back now, I'm going to use 1.5 inches. And then for the slope, the shoulder slope, if you remember, for the front, I used 1.5. For the back, the shoulder slope is going to be 1 inch. All right, and I'll go ahead to connect it the same way to the neck curve. Now at the neck region, I'm going to be having an opening there of about 4 inches. That's because I'm not going to be using a zip for this dress. It's going to be a button at the neck point there. Okay, so I'm going to come down from the neck depth by 4 inches. So you can see that already, and then I'll proceed to do the exact same thing I did for the front, the bust length, the waist length, which is all going to be the same, the hip length and the full length as well. Okay, so just watch the entire process. I could have folded my fabric into 4 and just cut out, but I wanted this to be really explanatory and really easy to comprehend, especially for beginners, so nobody gets confused. All right, so just watch what I'm doing. Done, as you can see, and like I said, it's basically the exact same thing that I did for the front that I also did for the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead to cut this out. Now I'm done cutting, as you can see. Now I'm cutting out the facing for the neckline. Okay, that's what I'm going to use to turn the necklines. You could use a bias as well if you have one. All right, or you could also cut a facing to turn the neckline for both the front and the back as well. And this is all for the cutting of this dress. I've made a video already for the cutting and sewing of the sleeves, so if you've not seen that, I'll leave the link in the description box. Now moving on to the sewing part. This is the center front that I have here, as you can see, and I have the facing as well. So I'm going to place it on its right sides facing each other. So I'm going to go ahead to pin this down, and I'll head over to my machine to stitch it round. I'm also going to do a top stitch. If you want, you could do that as well, and if not, you could just notch and iron. All right, so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to repeat the same process for the center back as well. Okay, you can see the opening I talked about that I was going to use for my button. Yeah, so that's it. All right, just watch what I'm doing. So here is the front piece. I've turned the neckline with the facing, as you can see, and here I also have these ropes that I'll be using for the loops, and they're about 2 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to pin them on the parts that I want them to be on. Okay, so if you remember, we marked out 6 inches length and we made notches from where the loops are going to start and end. So that's what I'm going to do, and they are going to be 1.5 inch away from each other. So I'm going to be having a total of 5 loops on each side. So you can just watch what I'm doing, okay? Now that I'm done pinning them down, I'll head over to my machine and stitch it in place. Done with that, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same process on the back piece. So this is basically it. I'm going to head over to my machine and stitch it in place as well. So this is what the center front and the center back looks like with the loops stitched on. Now I'm going to keep the back piece aside and work on the front. So I'm going to attach the side front to the center front, both of them. Okay, right sides facing each other, and I'll stitch all the way to the down parts. So here is the front piece. I've stitched the side front to the center front. You can see I haven't ironed yet, but this is what it looks like. So I'm going to put this aside and do the same thing that I did to the back piece as well, stitching the side backs to the center back here. And I'll proceed to iron both of them and come back to tell you what the next step is. As you can see, I'm done and I've ironed as well. Now I have both front and back piece, right sides facing each other, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch the sides as well. Alright, I'm just trying to arrange it in place. Okay, so that's basically it. There isn't really much to do about this. It's simple, very easy, as well as it is very simple to put on but still cute, right? Okay, so I'll go ahead to do that and iron, then come back to show you the aftermath. So this is what it looks like after I was done joining the sides. I also went ahead to join the shoulders, just as you can see. So what's left now is to attach the sleeves and make ropes for the lacing and then fold the hem. And for the sleeve, like I said earlier, I have a video on that, which is in the last video I posted, the cutting and sewing, quite detailed. So I'll leave the link in the description box for you guys to check it out. Alright, so this is basically all for the cutting and sewing of this dress. I hope it was easy to comprehend, quite explanatory despite it being chaotic. So thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, like it please, subscribe and like, share. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Definitely I will be more than happy to reply and answer your questions. Thank you guys for watching once again. For the people that watch my videos from the beginning to the end, you guys do not know how much love I have for you. I really do appreciate it and I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. I love you guys. See you in my next video. Bye.